Good afternoon from Wiley Hall. Jack Bono with you at the United States Merchant Marine Academy with the second communications video that began last week with a meeting with Midshipman Kyle Buser, the regimental commander. This week I have a couple of things to report, and I'd like to start by saying that yesterday we had a great meeting with our Board of Visitors. This is required by Congress. It's our Congressional Oversight Committee. Representative Tom Suozzi, our congressman, he is the chairman of that group, and it's an illustrious group of senators, congressmen, elected officials, as well as distinguished alum industry lead heads as well as the heads of the Coast Guard and Military Sealift Command. We had a great interactive meeting, a lot of good things to report on in terms of progress from your academy. I'd also like to say that last week, Midshipman Buser and I had a bet. And that was that the women's volleyball team, as they took on the men's pickup team last Friday, I believe it was, that his bet was that the men were going to win. My money was on the women. And the women won in 3 sets. Although I understand they want a rematch. So looking forward to that. But that was entirely the initiative of the regiment. 300 midshipmen in O'Hara Hall. It was a great time. Also, I'd like to say that we finished our 3rd random COVID test as we progress with the complete return of our midshipmen. And for 3 tests in a row, all of those tests came back negative. So that's good. The bubble continues, and we continue to have a COVID-free environment. We are working as a result of that on getting our midshipmen back into Delano Hall for meals. Hopefully we can get that done very soon. I am pleased to say that our Alumni Association and Foundation, Jim Hamilton and Jim Tobin, classes of 77, actually 79, nope, 77, they have graciously continued supporting the Academy. We have kayaks, we have paddle boards that have come to the Academy. You've probably seen them in recent pictures being used. We also have a concert on Friday night tomorrow, and the cover band is called Instant Replay. So look for pictures from that, as well as something new from the Alumni Association called Taco Tuesdays. So stay tuned. Thank you, Alumni Association and Foundation. Really appreciate it. Also, thanks as well to our Parents Association. Our National Parents Association is setting up a barbecue on October 11th. It's going to be another big shindig like they did last week. In addition to that, they've agreed to continue to supply a DJ for Sunday afternoons at the beach around Eldridge Pool. So thank you so much, Keith McLiberty and Brian Coughlin, for the support, ongoing support of our National Parents Association. But I'm especially pleased today to introduce you to Midshipman Mark Thompson. Last night I was invited to attend a course called Cultural Competence during a regimental training hour at 2000. It was the second one I attended. Extremely interesting. This is not a program that the superintendent or the administrators started up. This is something Mark Thompson and his shipmates have put together. I'd like you to hear from Mark because it's pretty exciting what's going on at Kings Point. So Midshipman Thompson, come on over and join me. I'll put my mask back on. Thanks. Good afternoon. And I'll tell you what, so you can be more communicative, I'm going to leave you so that you can take your mask off. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Midshipman Thompson here, and we're here to talk about cultural competence. Cultural competence, this started way back when first getting on a ship and realizing that the world is bigger than just us. The world is bigger than me and how I grew up and my family, and meeting people from different ethnicities, meeting people from different backgrounds and different cultures that grew up way harder than I could ever imagine. So while sitting on that ship, I started to begin to think, dang, we don't really talk about this when at school. We don't really talk about this when at Kings Point. And what we started to do, and I started talking with my shipmates, my classmates, and asking them about it. And they started to realize, okay, this is something that is important. And the reason that this is important, especially, and it should be prominent at this school, and we should have an open-minded attitude at this school, is because here at Kings Point, we send kids, not kids, but young men and women out on ships into different countries and into different places where we must be ready to face these cultural differences, these difference in culture norms. We must not only be ready to face it, but we must be ready to be open to it. Because right now, going into a different country, if you're more open to what's going on, you might be respected more and not looked at as, oh, just that American that's here for no reason. So the cultural competence training simply is, if we want to put into a definition, it is the ability to communicate and work effectively with people regardless of race, religion, or sex through the understanding of one's own worldview. One's own worldview is like a massive pill to swallow, because that is your ego, and that is your pride, and that is you letting go of everything, not fully letting go, but understanding that you grew up in a different way than not just people in different countries, but people that you can look to the left and look to the right of yourself. And that is how we'll make Kings Point a better place, and that is how we'll make the United States a better place, because it starts here. Because we must understand that all of us don't come from the same backgrounds in order to understand that different countries are that way. We're unique here at Kings Point because we enter different countries and experience different cultures when going out to sea. And that is why this cultural competence training is important. Throughout this week, we have sat down with each company in a regimental training, but instead of being in khakis, we were in PT gear, so that we can establish an open discussion culture so that everyone could be relaxed and tranquil when talking about these things. Because at this state and where we are right now, sometimes it could be hard to talk about. What we had 4 to 6 midshipmen get up at each training and tell a sea story that had a culture shock with them. But the difference between their sea stories and everyone else that had 300 plus days at sea was that each one of those stories had a lesson and a moral to them, and how it made them become a better leader, and how it made them realize, hey, I am not the only one here, and hey, we here at Kings Point and we here in America are not the only people on this earth. And that is what's beautiful about this cultural competence training. And it helps seniors understand their stories and now pull lessons out so that we could change the climate at this school for open-mindedness and awareness right now, while it is more prominent than ever through these trainings, so that the plebes can now go to them, and now you have a whole senior class and a whole junior class of people that are ready to talk about this. And then you have the underclassmen that are ready to go out to sea with an open mind and come back with more tools in their leadership toolbox to become great.
How was that for Acta Non Verba? Midshipman Thompson, thank you so much for having the initiative to consider doing something like changing culture at Kings Point. It's huge, and I very much appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. But I'd like to say that this is bigger than me. This started when it was just a pen on a piece of paper, and there was a team, and there was a group of people that saw this vision when it was nothing. And I'd like to thank them, because we had countless hours and countless nights together, even arguments. We grew as a family in order to get this done. And we realized that this is bigger than ourselves, and that is the only way that we are going to get this done. So thank you.
Thank you. And you and your shipmates, you own it. And that's how you change a culture. It has to become part of the fabric of who and what you are and what you want to be. Acta Non Verba, thank you so much.
Thank you.